This is kind of introduction to social media content planning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lenka, and I'm on a mission to help kind of ambitious be it entrepreneurs, freelancers, organizations, be it charities, non-profits, community organizations, you know, whatever you call yourself. If you're passionate about something, that's the kind of people I love working with, and helping people to understand the power of social media marketing, organic mainly social media marketing, and that helps them to kind of build their strategies, build their content, and really have the lives and help the lives of the people in the most effective way. So just a little bit of housekeeping. The session is being recorded. I did press record. I will just double check that we're recording, but from what I can see, we are recording. So the session is being recorded and it will be available for replay. You will get the slides and kind of further resources afterwards. Lots of the slides have further resources, blog posts, templates, stuff like attached to them, so you will get access to it. As I said, type your questions into the chat. I'll answer them later, and Karen and Chris will keep an eye on them. If you want, you can take screenshots and share them on social media. This is an old slide, so you can see I still use the comes digit week because I used the slide last time, but you can tag me at Lenka anywhere. So this session kind of builds up on the last session that we run last month, where we looked at what social media marketing is and how does it work. We will not go into it again. I just wanted to kind of recap very quickly to what we talked about. And in the follow-up conversation, there will be a link to the recording of the session from last time, which is an hour kind of quick intro to social media strategy. But what we mainly looked at were these 5 kind of questions and steps. We looked at why, kind of your business, understanding your purpose, your mission, vision, your brand. We looked at who is your audience, who are the people that you're trying to reach with your social media or any kind of marketing communications. Where, defining which platforms are the right choices, are the best places for your organization to be. What, kind of what type of content, and we'll definitely dive a lot deeper into this topic today. And obviously how much your goals, what needs to happen to achieve your goals. And the most important thing that we kind of, the section that we discussed was the audience. And then we kind of wrapped up with really one key takeaway, which I would everyone want to keep in mind for today's session, which is be where your ideal customers are. So I would like everyone, before we go into the planning and, you know, thinking about the content and everything, to really pause for a second and consider where your ideal customers are, where the people that you're trying to help, you're trying to work with, trying to reach, trying to build connections with, where do they are? In the past session, we went through the platforms, looked at their demographics and the behavior. So if you're not sure, then go ahead and watch last month's session. But you definitely have some sort of an idea of who the people you want to work with are and where you might be able to find them. And when planning your content for social media, I would really like to encourage you to really have 1 or 2 platforms in mind. Don't try to be everywhere. Don't spread yourself too thinly and think that you have to be on every single social media channel. It's always so hard to keep up with all the changes, all the channels, all the functionalities and features. And we all have very limited resources. So you want to really put your resources into 1 or 2 of the places where you have the best chance of really connecting with your audiences and really build the relationships and helping them. So today we'll look specifically at content planning for your social media. And this is how I would start with building a badass, really awesome content marketing master plan for you. We will look at 7 steps. We will start with quick audit and SWOT. Kind of, we will look at what you've done so far. How did it work? How did it perform? Where you see your strengths and where you see opportunities. We will touch again on audience, because really I can't stress enough how important understanding your ideal customers, your ideal targets, the people that you really want to work with, how important it is to understand their pains and needs, their journey and how you can support them online with your content, with your community, with your engagement. We will obviously look at goals and KPIs, key performance indicators, to understand what you want to achieve and how you'll measure that you're on the right track, what metrics you should be paying attention to when it comes to social media and content. And then we'll look at a 12-month plan. So we will look at 12 months ahead and we'll look what kind of events and milestones are there. And we will start shaping your content plan around that. And then we'll have a couple more tips and tricks on how you can brainstorm content ideas, how you can define your content themes and topics to really at any point have a clear idea what content you want to be creating. Because I definitely don't want anyone to be opening up their laptop on Monday, opening their scheduling tool or their social media channel and be like, what are we talking about? Like, what do I want to say? We want you to have a clear plan to know that, yes, this week our focus is this and this and this. We need to create content about this or this or this. We will just type it out, we'll design it, we'll do anything. Here we go. So always have a clear plan, have a bucket of things that you can be talking about, making sure that it's balanced. If you have a specific campaign in mind, if there's a specific campaign that you're running, how to break it down. We'll look at the actual creation. If you now have the plan, you have the ideas together, so how do you actually then go ahead and create your content in the most effective way? And we'll look at some of the tools that are available out there for you. And at the same time, we then look at the promotion and repurposing, because one of the things I definitely don't want you to be doing, again, is to always chase a new piece of content, always have to worry about what is new, and give you some tips and tricks on how we can repurpose and really use what you already have to get it further, to promote it better. Is it okay? Everyone clear? It will be a lot, but at any point, if you have any questions, just give me a shout and I'll answer that and I'll clarify. So, first, I would always start by recommending you to do an audit and a quick analysis. Doing an audit every 6 months to a year is very helpful to see what you've done in the past, how it performed, and how you can improve it going forward. And that will then help you inform your goals with numbers, and it will help you inform how often and frequently you need to produce something to reach your new goals. And doing a little bit of SWOT analysis really helps you to see where you sit in the market, what are your real strengths that you can lean into, what are the opportunities that the current situation is open up for you, as well as obviously what are the weaknesses that you need to make sure that you are aware and keeping an eye on, and what are the threats coming from outside that might, damage or hurt or, threaten you. And when we're talking about audit, we want to look at a couple of the places to measure. We want to measure your website. We want to understand the traffic that's coming to your website. What are the sources of traffic? How much time people are spending on your site? What are the most popular pages, blog posts, landing pages, contact forms, anything. We want to understand better how your website is performing. Obviously, we want to understand your content. If you're creating blog posts regularly, videos, infographic, ebooks, podcasts, whatever form, how frequently you're producing it, what results are you getting, how many people are reading, watching, listening, engaging, commenting, sharing, all the content related metrics. If you have email newsletter, if you have any kind of campaign running through email, you want to see how frequently you're sending your emails, if you're consistent, what is the open rate, what is the click rate, what is your list size and the health of your list, is it your list growing, and how you could be potentially growing your list going forward. Obviously, you want to have a look at your social media accounts. Not only that you want to have a look at your social media profiles that you currently have set up on your social media accounts to see if they're optimized, if you have the same logo, the same cover image, if you have the same bio or roughly the same bio information across all the channels that you're active on, if all the links to your website or anywhere else, if they're all consistent and working. You want to make sure that your visual and content representation on all the social media channels is aligned. And you then want to analyze a little further the results from individual platforms, individual channels. You want to measure, obviously, not just the vanity metrics, like the number of followers and likes, but you also want to look at how many comments you're getting, if people are mentioning you, who are the people mentioning you, how frequently they're mentioning you, how many DMs you're getting, any shares, how many clicks, video views, and so on. And if you have any lead generation, be it, a simple contact form, a simple call to action for people to reach out if they want your help, if they want to work with you, if they want to volunteer, support, donate, whatever the purpose of your collecting leads is. Or lead can be an email, it can be just the name of the person, anything. So this measuring if it's coming through email, from a website, if it's coming from DMs on social media, and you want to know kind of who these people are. You can sort them into different groups, and you want to know what content brought them in, if they're the right kind of people, and then put that into your plan. So after you've done kind of the initial audit, then you want to do a quick content marketing competitive analysis. Even though I'm not a huge fan of looking outwards at your competitors, because every single one of your organizations is fairly unique. You have a very unique mission, and it's more about you, your brand, your values, and your audiences. It's still great to have an idea what's out there, do a little bit of benchmarking to see what is possible, what other people, what the organizations, other charities are doing, so you can see what you can learn from them, where there is a gap. And I'm sure that you've heard of SWOT analysis before. SWOT analysis gives you 4 quadrants where you analyze and you look at your strengths, your weaknesses, which is kind of the internal, and you look at opportunities and threats, just kind of looking externally. And I don't think that we do this often enough to really pause and see and kind of have a perspective of ours, kind of content and social media and communication and goals. So I will take a couple minutes to allow you to take a pen and paper and write down any kind of strengths, weaknesses, or opportunities and threats that you can think of in terms of your organization, specifically in the area of communication, marketing, social media, and content. All good? You have a couple of minutes. I'm just checking the time. I will give you 3-4 minutes to write it down. I will check the comments in the meantime, and we will continue there. If you have any questions related to this, then let me know. Awesome, I see everyone writing. Always good. Cool. It looks like that you're kind of done. So I will go, you will, obviously I'm giving you just a little time, so you'll have more time to go back to it after the session. But I just wanted to get you started straight away, so you are actually getting away from the session with something already practically prepared. So this will give you a quick kind of introduction and idea of where you stand right now. Because for me, whenever I'm thinking about be it a strategy, be it a social media strategy, content plan, business plan, or even a hike, you can see that my branding has lots of mountains in there. And it's because I do love the outdoors. I like going on adventures. But if you go on an adventure, you need to understand where you're starting out right now and what is the destination we're trying to get to. And you need to be able to plan. You need to be able to research where you're heading, what gear you might need, if it's something that you can do on your own or if you need a team, how long it will take you. And the same goes to any kind of a social media strategy plan. You need to understand where you're starting, what is your base point, to know where you want to go, how high the peak that you want to climb is, and prepare accordingly. So once you know where you stand, you've done your audit and you've done your SWOT, then you obviously want to understand your audience. You want to know who your ideal customers, and the word customer is very kind of broadly. It can be the actual people you're helping, your audience. It can be if you're potentially looking for volunteers, if you're looking for trustees, for more funding, or if you're just generally looking to expand your reach and grow your brand awareness. That's all possible, but there will be different groups of people, and it's great to understand each and individual customer persona. And you want to map out a little bit of their journey, how they might interact with your brand over time. And we will look at a couple of the steps they might take on the kind of customer journey, or how the journey might look like. But this is mainly here for a reminder for everyone that even though we will be talking a lot about you, your organization, your social media, your plan, your content, your goals, when you come to creating content, when it comes to creating blog posts, videos, training, individual social media posts, stories, it's always important to remember that social media marketing, it's not about you. It is not about what you want to say, and it's more about what your ideal customers want to hear from you, how you can support them, how you can serve them and provide value from the content that you're sharing. And just a reminder that content marketing is a way of sharing information and engaging with your customers. It's not about selling. It's not about just putting your content about you, about your products, about your services, talk about you and putting it out there. It is a way, yes, to inform people, but it's also a way to engage your customers, to engage your audiences. And when you're thinking about your ideal customers, you have a couple questions that you can ask yourself. You want to know who they are, look a little bit at the demographics. Is there a specific age, a specific gender, specific income, specific area, kind of who they are as a person? Where do they hang out in terms of social media, digital? What are their challenges and pains and problems and needs that you're helping them? What's their journey? Always talking in terms of interacting with your brand, where they will come across you in the first place, how they will get to know you and understand how you can help them, where they're actually going to get the support. And really try to get obsessed with your customers, try to get as much knowledge about them, try to understand their behaviors. So on top of understanding their generic demographic profile, try to understand what magazines they might like to read, what TV channels, TV programs they might prefer. If they're watching Netflix or YouTube, or if they're on TikTok, or if they prefer to read books, if anything that you can get to know about them will help you then align your content, your brand, your vision and mission with what they want and need and how it will resonate with them. I do have a customer persona template, and it will be in the handout, so you can then have a look at it and try to create 1, 2, 3 customer personas for your organization to really make sure that you are communicating with the right people. I always say that there is definitely a saying in marketing that if you market to everyone, you're marketing to no one. If your message is too broad, it will not resonate with anyone. But if you're being very specific with your messaging and you're making your messaging very specific to your audiences, it doesn't mean that you're excluding anyone. Your messaging will not say that we only work with person who is XYZ. It's never the point of excluding. It is more just making sure that you are really resonating with the right people, and that people can kind of see themselves in your content. They can understand that, yes, this piece of content, this messaging, this organization, it's for me, it's what I personally want and need. So there's just a little kind of background on why we actually do customer personas. It's not to exclude people. It is just to make sure that we do really resonate with the people who are our ideal customers and who are the right people for us, for them to know that we are right for them. So when we talked about the customer journey, you can find lots of models how to divide, but I like this very simple 3-step customer journey where it goes from awareness to consideration to conversion. So the first step is fairly clear. It's people are getting aware that they have a pain, they have a problem, they have a challenge, they have an inquiry, and that they are getting aware of that. And they are getting aware that there is an organization, a person, a group, a charity, a community that can help them solve their problem, or talking more traditional marketing, if there is a product or a service that can help them solve their problem, pain, challenge. Once they are aware, they will go to consideration. They will start looking at the pros and cons and features, and they will start considering of actually getting involved, getting help, getting in touch, buying, contacting, whichever way, again, then the consideration goes to. And once they're ready, once they know that you're the right person, the right organization, that you have the right solution, then they will go to the conversion, which is obviously in traditional sales, it will be the point of sale. But when we're talking about communities, it's they become part of your community, they reach out to you asking for help, they join one of your events, they join one of your groups. Whatever you would consider conversion, it can look differently, but that's the very proactive step of them reaching out and interacting with you on any stage. And there are different types of content that will help you kind of guide people through this process. And obviously it's not as linear as it seems here. The awareness can kind of be circular, that they will get aware that there is a pain. It will take them a time to be aware that there is a solution, to be aware that you are the one who has the solution, to then start considering you, and the pain keeps kind of being there. The challenge is still there, they're still considering you, and then they will potentially convert. They will start working with you, they will join your community, they will come to one of your events, they will reach out. You might help them, it might be good forever, or there might be a program or whatever, and they will then continue with the loop. And then there is another loop of loyalty. That is the second kind of a cycle, but this is the main kind of initial customer, buyer, whatever you want to call it, cycle. And there are different types of content that you can be producing to guide you. So even though we are talking about social media content planning, you can't just have social media without having anything to back it up with. You can't just have your Instagram account most likely without having a website and having some content on the website, or having a plan for content creation, be it in a text form, be it in a video form. So we will be talking about content on both two levels. One is obviously the social media level that goes out to social media channels, but the other level is that goes beyond, be it your press releases, be it your email marketing, be it your website, be it your YouTube channel, any kind of video training, flyers, all of that. It's part of the big content marketing bucket. So that's, you can see different types of ideas. In awareness, it's a lot about blog posts and kind of videos, podcasts, social media posts with graphics and animations, which is very much about just the bringing snippets, examples, content to bring awareness to people that you exist, what you do, how you do it, what problems you're solving. And then when people are in this bucket already, they are aware of you, then you can start, obviously you will, it's not as simple as you share this, they move here, they move there, but it just shows you the mixture of content you could and should be creating to really guide people. So once people kind of started following you on your social media, they've seen maybe a tweet, an Instagram post, an Instagram story, they maybe went to your website and read a blog post, or they've seen a video with you, or heard an interview or podcast with you. They already have the awareness that you exist, that there is a solution to their challenge, that you are someone they want to be involved with. And then you can start bringing them to the next level of content, which is potential newsletters. They sign up to newsletter and they start seeing your content in their inboxes. It might be something where you start collecting the leads, the emails, be it like an ebook and white paper, where people need to sign up to and give you their email, so you can again communicate with them a little bit more privately and a little bit more directly. It can be webinars, it can be events. We often call this kind of like hand raiser content, which kind of helps people to pre-select themselves if they're ready to consider working with you a little more seriously. So this gives them a little bit of a chance. They need to be more proactive to take the action. So you had to take the action to sign up to this event. You had to take the action of showing up today, which really shows me that, you know, you are not only seeing the pain of not needing to understand social media content better, but that you are really considering, that you want to learn more, that you want to really understand this area of social media marketing. And then, you know, whatever the conversion is, in my case, I'm not trying to sell anything. For me, it's just as long as you're happy and you know what you're doing, that's good. But you now know about me. So if I then would give you a call to action to book a consultation with me, read more of my content, join my mailing list, you're more likely to do that. And if at any time you are ready or your customers are ready, you then would more likely to reach out to me, and they would more likely to reach out to you to convert. And there are different types of content that you can really aid this conversion. It can be case studies, it can be reviews and testimonials, it can be price guide if there is an actual cost to working with you. If not, it could be just how to work with you. It can be a guide that shows people the process of working with you. And it could be gated content. By gated, we mean that, again, people need to give you their email address to receive the content, that it's not publicly accessible. It needs to be password protected, or it is more of a VIP content. It could be a demo, it could be a free consultation, anything like that. And on this journey, you obviously want to pay attention to people's emotions, because we already said that at the early stages, people are often kind of coming to brands because of a pain. It doesn't need to be a physical pain, but there is a need, there is a challenge, there's something that they're struggling with, they're not happy with, they want to overcome, and they're looking for solutions. And this is beautifully seen throughout the stages, that in the awareness stage, they are very emotional. They have a pain, they have a challenge. Once they go to the consideration, they tap into more of their rational kind of side. They start doing logical research. You know it from your experience. Whenever you're buying anything, especially the more costly it is, the more research you do. You look at comparisons, you look at the reviews, you look at any kind of competition, and you do your pros and cons, you do your analysis. But at the end of the day, when you have all the information that you can, your decision is mainly emotional again, that we buy from brands, we buy from organizations. No matter how much we believe we're rational, there is such a big part of research that proves that we're actually fairly emotional. And that's why people will be very emotional and passionate about brands. Like how many of you have an Apple product, and you have an Apple product not because it's the cheapest, because it's definitely not, but because Apple brand means something. iPhone, iPod, MacBooks, the names, the brand means something. We have emotional reaction. And there might be equally good, not even better products on the market. And rationally, we might see that, be it, I don't know, Sony, Samsung, Google Pixel, whatever phones might be equally or even better and more affordable than iPhones. We will often go to iPhone because there is an emotional connection. And especially in your areas where you really work with people, we're trying to help them, there is a real pain, there is a real challenge, there is a real support needed, then the decision to work with you will be emotional as well. So this is kind of to give you a few things to think about when it comes to your customers, to the people you are creating the content, you're creating your posts for. And now back to you to understand what you want to actually achieve with your social media content efforts, how your content marketing, actually social media, fits into your overall marketing plan, into your overall business plan. So how social media and content and digital fits into the overall marketing, into the overall campaigns. If there's offline, it's quite hard in 2020, but there are still ways of doing things offline. And obviously you still have the options of direct mail and paid advertising and radio and TV and all the kind of things. So really think about how this one piece of puzzle fits into the bigger image. And obviously understand how you will measure the results and the return on investment. Even though social media is for free, it is not free because you still need to invest time and effort into it. Even though we're talking about organic and using kind of the free side of social media, there still is a resource necessary. So you still need to be able to measure and prove that what you're investing into your social media content is actually bringing on the results that you are hoping to achieve. So some of the goals, the top goals that you would usually set when it comes to social media will be to increase your brand awareness. We've already talked about awareness a lot, and social media is definitely the #1 place for brand awareness these days. You can also use it for sales lead generation. So you can have goals of how many people you want to actually reach out to you and start working with you and kind of convert and generate leads from social. You can have goals related to increasing your community engagement. So you want to increase really not only the size of your audience, but the engagement, the level of connection between you and your community and individual community members to each other. You want to potentially grow brand your audience, just the size of the numbers of your followers and people who are connected with you and potentially people who are on your mailing list. Yes, some of your goals will definitely be aligned to the overall growth. You might want to increase your web traffic because you have lots of other web marketing goals related. And you understand that if you get people to a website, then you can measure the traffic, the landing pages. You can measure, again, subscriptions to your newsletter, downloads of certain ebooks or white papers, bookings to certain events and stuff like that. There, I think a couple of years ago, we did a Google Analytics webinar, which would be on Cambridge Online YouTube channel. Karen might have a quick look. Can I ask you a cheeky question? If you can send people a link, I'm pretty sure we did Google Analytics. I hope I'm not lying. If we haven't done, we will do. But definitely understanding your...
I'll have a look.
Yes, thank you. I think we did, but yeah. The point was that you want to understand what goals you have and how you will measure them. And looking at these goals, kind of looking again at the goals that are related to awareness, to the consideration, to the conversion, you will be looking at different metrics. So you will be looking, if you're looking at awareness, growing your brand awareness, then the metrics will be reach. It can be engagement, meaning comments, mentions, shares, likes, follows. If we're looking at metrics related to consideration, we're looking more at web traffic, content consumption, meaning actually visits to your blog posts, to your ebooks, to your videos, the views of your videos, the listens of your podcast, download of your podcast, potentially how many submissions of leads you've received, email statistics and stuff like that. If we're talking about conversions, we're looking how many people reached out to you and actually went through the process of sales, through the process of conversion, and they actually decided they want to work with you, they want to volunteer with you, they want to donate to you, they need your support, they will interact with you in the service that you're offering. But when it comes to actually kind of looking at these numbers, I always want you to remember that it's quality over quantity. You are not chasing millions, in most cases, in organizations that you are running, that in the area that we are involved in. We don't need to have millions, definitely not at the early stages, millions and millions of people who kind of a little bit know about us, but we want a smaller but very much engaged, relevant audience. We want quality over quantity. We want people who will really love and rave and want to work with us, who will be the right person, rather than have lots of people who are kind of like, nah, whatever, like, I don't care much, I'm following them, but to be honest, I don't know, I don't care. You want to always consider, when it comes to producing your content, quality over quantity. When it comes to creating your social media posts, quality over quantity. But also when it comes to metrics, you want better numbers, quality numbers, rather than biggest numbers. And now we're going to actually start planning. So now you should have a fairly good idea of what are we going to do? Why are we doing what we're doing? Where are we heading? And now let's do it. So I would always recommend you to plan for at least 12 months. Because let's be honest, social media content marketing is not a quick win. You will start seeing results straight away. But if we're talking about actually seeing it to grow exponentially, to really bring the results, it will take time to get yourself established, to get your brand awareness out there, to start seeing the conversions, start seeing people coming your way. And 12 months, it's at the end of the day a very short amount of time. But when it comes to planning, 12 months, a year ahead, it's always a right time frame to start looking at it. Because you can start by looking at kind of the bigger picture. You can take a calendar and you can start looking, okay, so related to seasons, national holidays, major worldwide events, what would be relevant to us? Is there something around Christmas, Easter, summer holidays, back to school, events like Thanksgiving, events like summer school holidays, anything? Is there something that it would be relevant to us, to our audiences? Is there something that we could start thinking about a campaign, a content around this? And you can mark it down in your calendar. You will look at the important events, be it political or sporting events. You can look at awareness days. These days there is an awareness day for anything and everything every day. And you can look at these platforms that you have websites like Days of the Year and Awareness Days, where you can find and search for awareness days. There's awareness days, awareness weeks, awareness months, and you can again look when they are, what they are about, if they're relevant to you, and you can start planning so you know that January is often seen also as Veganuary, so lots of people go vegan. And if there's anything related to it, that if you're working in the sustainability, let's say, that potentially you want to take part of it. Right now we're part of November, which is Men's Health Month. So if there's anything related to it, you could be using this. And it really helps you to get bigger reach. If you align your messaging to certain bigger events, it really helps you then to get more conversations because people are already talking about it, they're already involved with it. You will get more partners, more supporters, more people potentially resharing something. So it could be then looking for the trending hashtag to organizations who are running these events, so you can align with them. Then you can look at any of the new releases. We talked about thinking about the behaviors of your audiences and thinking about which TV shows, which movies, radio station, music, books, research areas, degrees they might be interested in, might be watching, reading, and you can look at any new releases. So if you've identified that your audience are very likely to be watching a certain TV show and you know that Netflix or BBC will be releasing new episodes, new season at a certain date, you can plan for it, you can put in your calendar, you can align your message with it. You can look at your industry, what is happening specifically in your area. If there are any conferences, exhibitions, any anniversaries, milestones, any events, these days online events, but whatever it is, make sure that you align that. And obviously look at your business. So what are important dates for a business? Do you have a business anniversary? Are there any birthdays? Are there any new launches and new partnerships? Are there any repeat events, seasonal events, anything that is your business specific? And then you take all of that, all these ideas, and you map out your next 12 months. So here I have a very simple 2021 calendar, and I will give you a couple minutes to just roughly start thinking about the next year and what themes, what ideas you already have around different events, different milestones, different topics that you could start putting into your 12-month calendar. So I'll give you a couple minutes because I know that it's been a lot that I've talked about right now. So I want to give you again a moment to work on this. So I will shut up for a second. I will check your comments and I will be back with step 3 ideation shortly. Not step 3, whatever. In the next step shortly. If you have any questions or anything, just let me know. Feel free to drop it in a chat or just wave at me or just literally unmute yourself and start talking, whichever way works for you. Chris says last Thursday was International Toilet Day. Hey, who knows? If you're in the toilet business, if you're in the digestion, if you're in the food and nutrition, there might be a spin on it. There might be a way of use this, especially if you position your brand as of a brand that potentially has a personality and a healthy sense of humor is something natural to you, natural to your brand's personality and voice, then why not? You can take a spin on International Toilet Day.
I have a question. For the kind of like the speed of looking at this, are there any existing calendars of awareness days and things like that, or websites you recommend to go and look at? Because I feel like there's got to be some good ones, but I guess it has to be like UK focused generally if that's where you're more active. So yeah, is there any, basically I'm asking if there's a cheat.
Yeah, there are two websites that I usually would use. One is called Days of the Year, and another one is called Awareness Days. And you have a calendar and you have a list of events. You can search by date, you can search by topic, you can search by keyword. They will, when you click on each of the events, it will give you kind of a little bit of a background. It will give you if there is a hashtag, if there is a date, a fine, and they will often tell you if it's UK, US, worldwide. So they will give you the information. Some of them, even though it's national in the US, national in the UK. Like the World Book Day, it has actually 2 days because one is UK and one is world. So these websites will actually give you information about that as well, that you can find out, you know, if there's a specific hashtag you could be researching using, who is the organization, who founded it and organizing it. And usually on their website, you will find lots of PR promotional campaign packages that you can just grab and use on your channels.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's exactly it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I would often literally just go to Google as well and type, I don't know, I have one of my clients are in engineering. So it would be like engineering day and look what Google says, because then there is like women in engineering and women and girls in STEM and, you know, different kind of, no, this is engineering and engineering safety and blah, blah, blah. So often just simply Googling your area and the word day and awareness day or something in Google, it will often bring lots of relevant results as well.
Lenka, what do you think of, I've come across sites that give people information. So you might have like Motivating Monday and Wellbeing Wednesday, that kind of thing. And they actually suggest topics. So you might come up with you might set yourself up in advance with a whole ream of, you know, 4 weeks worth of Wellbeing Wednesday posts that you might schedule to go out. What do you think about doing that kind of thing?
I think it's definitely a great add-on to the mix. I wouldn't start building your calendar with these days in mind, because they can get very repetitive, very boring very quickly. So I would always start with really bigger, more meaningful, your related events and kind of topics for you, for your organization. But yes, when you then have the calendar and you see there is a gap here, there is a gap here, whatever, I really can't think of anything here. Then yes, you can look at, you have Motivation Monday, you have, I don't know, you can create your own, or you can search. There's pretty much a hashtag for every day. There's, you know, you have Throwback Thursday, which is always good. With any Thursday, it gives you a great chance to just look back into the past and kind of relive, bring back some memories, some events, which is lovely. You know, you always have a kind of Friday feeling where you can have little lighthearted moments for the Friday. You can have Sunday sharing. There's usually alliteration in it. So I'm not against, like, these are great ideas. I wouldn't overdo it with these particular kind of weekly days. I wouldn't necessarily do it every single week. Or if I would definitely pay attention to how this aligns with my goals, how this Monday motivation, it's not just a post. Again, I don't want you to be posting just for the sake of posting. I want you to be posting because you have something meaningful to say. So that being said, people often do ask how frequently should we post? And the question is always very easy to answer. The answer is it depends. It depends on your goals, but also on your resources. And I would rather see you post one high quality, well-researched, well thought of posts a week than to post every single day something that is just like, nah. Obviously, it depends a little bit on the network. Like Twitter is a little more fast-paced and you can get away with a little higher intensity of posting. But other platforms, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, they are driven by algorithm. and the algorithm is looking at quality and the engagement of each post a lot. So you don't want to be putting content out there that doesn't perform well, because that will hurt any future post. So if all you can do is put 2 quality posts a week, I'm more than happy with that. It's better. You will get better results from doing 2 quality posts a week than doing 5, 6, 7 kind of mediocre posts a week. Yes, Karen said that she usually uses Charity Tuesday. It's very much relevant to you, so I'm pretty sure that every week you would find something interesting to put, but I wouldn't want you to clutter your calendar with Monday motivation and Charity Tuesday and Wednesday this and Thursday that and Friday this. You have a lot more interesting things to talk about.
I have a question regarding audience. I think because for charity we cover I would say several services, and each services would have different users and also and different content of service. And how then in this like concept, how do we so it's not like just one audience. We may have different topic and also a different type of donor as well. So I just have the question, like, how do we manage this audience identification?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much no business organization has only one audience. I would say there will be 3 to 5 kind of different groups of audiences that you can identify. And obviously it depends a lot on your resources. I would say do have a little bit of a plan for each and every one of them. So have audience A. If it's younger women, they will obviously want to see a slightly different type of content than if it's audience B, which is older couples or older retired people. Obviously the content will differ. So then in your content, you can color code it, or you can say that, you know, we have two posts going out each week, which gives us, you know, 8 posts a month. And then we have 2, 3 audiences. So one will be a little bit more generic. And then this post will actually focus on this audience. This post will focus on this audience. Obviously, if you have bigger resources and you have a bigger team, there is a way of actually having a channel specific strategy, which would say that we know that on Instagram, the audience will be pretty young, it will be pretty female led. So we will use Instagram mainly to communicate to our audience A, which is younger women. And we know that Facebook is our audience for the older generation. So we will split the content. We will have different content or slightly adjusted content going out on Instagram and going down on Facebook, because on Instagram, we want to really talk to young women. And on Facebook, we want to talk to older generation. And it still means that you, instead of doing 2 posts on Instagram, you will do 1 on Instagram, 1 on Facebook. I'm not asking you to duplicate your workload, just divide and be like, okay, 1 post goes here for this audience, 1 post goes here for this audience. That's it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Okay. So I'll go back to sharing my screen and we'll look at getting a little more content ideas. Can you see my slides? What am I sharing? Where are my slides? My slides are hiding from me. Here I am. Okay, you should be seeing my slides now. So the next step is ideation. And this is kind of related to brainstorming all your content ideas. And again, do it in a strategic way where you define your content themes and topics and you look at some of the topic ideas that you could be using. You will do your research, looking at what your audience actually are asking, what their questions are. And from there, you will start creating your content schedule and potentially a production plan. So when we're talking about content themes or topics or buckets, we usually would have kind of 4 areas that we can group our content into. One is educational, it's to educate. Another one is to entertain and engage. Another one is to inspire. And then another one is to convince. And under each, you can again start thinking of different types of content. So under educate, you can showcase your expertise, you can share how-tos, you can share, you know, some tips and tricks and advice. If it's the engage and entertain, it could be something more personal, it could be something more community driven, it could be behind the scenes from your organization, it could be something more lighthearted, it could be a related meme or again relevant to one of those trending hashtags, it could be just something that is entertaining, it could be asking a question to really get your audience to start engaging and interacting with you. If we're talking about something that is inspiring, you can share testimonials, case studies, feedback. You can always use FAQs to answer people's questions and give people more advice on how to work with you, how to get involved by sharing kind of answers to some of the frequently asked questions. When we're talking about convince, we can look at your product and service, and we can book your consultation here, join our event here, get support over here. It could be more of a call to action, but you can see that the call to action is kind of 1 out of 3. So you want to roughly maintain the same ratio of, you don't want all your content to be just call to actions. You want it to be balanced between the educate and entertain and inspire. And obviously you still want to be promoting and making clear information about how people can work with you, but you want to think about it in a balanced way. And when we talked about people's emotions, there is a very lovely chart from, I think it was CoSchedule, one of the content marketing companies out there, that has done great research into looking what kind of type of content, looking again at the area of entertain, inspire, educate, and convince, you should be using where when it comes to the stages from awareness through consideration to purchase or conversion, but also taking into account people's emotions. So going from rational to emotional. And you can see in the top quadrant, in the entertain, there are some very light content ideas like quizzes and viral, very quick, fast paced content. There are some games, there are some fun competitions. If we then go to the more rational, where people are making the rational decision, when they're potentially trying really to get some help, or really trying to do the self-care, self-help first, then there might be some guides, there might be some ebooks, some articles, some infographics, there might be some video training, there might be some more rational content. And when it's time to really go back to the convinced, more emotional, you can either inspire them by some endorsements, by some collaborations, community forums, reviews, ratings, events, or you can go rational with, again, features, case studies, pricing, how to, step-by-step checklists, stuff like that. So I quite like this graphic. It gives you all the different content ideas that you might have, but it still puts them into the 4 kind of quadrants and makes you think about different types of content based on the different stage of the customer cycle, but also based on the different emotion that people might be experiencing. And I think this is a very fun exercise to do. So I will give you a couple minutes to think. I will flip back so you can actually keep an eye on the table in case that's something you want to use as your sounding board. But I would like you to write down a couple of ideas, but now divide them and try to think about if it would be more of a educational post, entertaining post, inspiring post, or kind of more salesy, convincing post. I'll give you a couple minutes for that.
Sorry, I might misunderstood. So I thought what you meant was like we should identify which category our post will be focused on, but actually we can like incorporate all four type of posts in social media. Is that what you meant, said?
Yes, so the idea of this exercise is to think about partially what form it would take, the post, if it would be more of an article, it would be potentially a checklist, if it could be like a review, or if it would be a guide. But obviously you can think about a specific content idea, a specific topic to be like, in the educate, we potentially want to make some videos, we want to make some blog posts about topics that are X, Y, Z. We maybe want to use it as an opportunity to create an ebook or a lead page. When it comes to something that's more entertaining, we want to use some short form, some graphics, some animations, some competitions for people that is more shorter form, that's kind of more emotional. If we are thinking about inspiring posts, we really potentially want to use the Charity Tuesday, we want to use the Monday motivation, and we want to create topics about X, Y, Z, the topic. Again, it very much depends on your organization. And when it comes to about the convincing, we can maybe use this topic to get people to really sign up, get this to really tell people how they can work with us, to inform people that we have this specific package, service, support for them.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, this is a great idea, Chris. Chris says that she came across a lovely quiz. What sort of rescue dog is the right for you? It's definitely, yeah, it's fun, educational, and inspiring. I'm not saying that every piece of content will be clearly defined to fit into just one of the quadrants. Lots of content ideas will be kind of a mixture of all of them, but you can definitely try to and make your own. You can always think about, what is your topic, what is your area, what you're helping people with, and then think about your own quiz. You definitely see lots of kind of collages of photos when people say, this is what I'm when I'm on Instagram, this is what I'm when I'm on Facebook, or this is what my mom thinks of me, this is what my boss thinks of me, this is what my friends think of me. So definitely you can make it play on rescue dogs, like, this is his personality, this is his personality, this is his personality, and you can make it like a fun quiz, but that also is educational, that gives people some information about who you are, what you do, and you can always follow it up with a blog post or a longer video that kind of explains a little in detail the actual facts behind this one particular more lighthearted, inspiring, entertaining post. And we will look at some of the options of kind of promotion, distribution, repurposing in the last step.
I mean, the eye-catching thing about that one was the photographs, of course, because anything that you can do to put cute animals,
obviously,
gets attention.
It's well-known fact that the two most popular things on social media that get the most likes and engagement are babies and dogs, potentially cats, or any kind of cute animals, like be it a bird or llama or baby cow. But babies and animals are definitely, like, if you can find a legitimate reason. Obviously, if there is no good reason for you to be using it, I don't recommend any kind of hacking, try to hack the system. But if you can think of a legitimate reason to really use a photo, a visual, a GIF, a meme, an animation of an animal or a baby, go for it. Overall, visuals with people faces work much better. So if there is an option of using your own photos, your team photos, creating your own stock photos, it's always better if there is a face of a person rather than when it's just an illustration, kind of abstract image. Faces and people just work better. We're more drawn towards other people's faces than we are to just a post with a couple of words or with just a visual of, you know, a building, a landscape, whatever.
Lenka, sorry, I have a question. You might have mentioned it already, but I think I'm just not really quite sure about the inspire section. So is it, because I can obviously see it's a really good graphic, by the way, but I'm just wondering, you know, when it says like community forums reviews, is this like inspirational content so from anyone, like about any topic, just that in general inspires people, like reach for your dreams, or, you know, you can do this? Or is it like community forums or events and reviews of things about our organization or things that people have said about our services?
Yes, every type of content should always be relevant to you. So it can be, even if it's an inspiring quote, even if it's just an inspiring, you know, if it's a feedback, if it's endorsement, if it's a review, or if it's just any kind of inspiring post, it just, you want people to give the good feels, and there is no kind of deeper meaning behind it. There still should be aligned with your organization, with your message, with your focus. You shouldn't be telling people, you know, all about spirituality and kind of awesome quotes about it if your business it has nothing to do with spirituality, and you're more kind of driven with kind of financial literacy, for example.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks.
Of course. Okay, so again, you'll have all the slides and all the time to work on it afterwards. We will continue to the next section, which is when you're stuck on content ideas, what do you do? So if you're, hopefully I've given you enough prompts by looking at the calendar to start thinking about lots of ideas. But even if you think like, okay, I need something educational, I need something inspiring, like what is it actually, like what is the topic, what is the actual content? And the best way to get the actual ideas of what will be the post about is to, by listening, is to start listening to your community, and is to do your research in terms of look at what people are searching for, what people are talking about, what people are asking, with meaning people by your audience. So it can be researching on social media, researching on the web, looking at through your emails, you know, recollect some of the conversations you have with people, and start like, what are the questions they're asking us? What are their challenges? Like, what is that they need to know, that they want to know? And there are a couple of great places where you can go. One of my favorite things is to use the platform called Answer the Public, which is fantastic. And I'll actually share a screen over there and I'll show you how that works, because it's a great place where you can find out a lot about people. So can you see my screen that I'm sharing? Can you see what I'm seeing with Answer the Public? You just give me thumbs up or comment.
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome. So this is perfect page where you can say, okay, you can see that what are the things that I've recently typed in based on the clients I've been working on. But if you, let's say you are an organization that does support people with, it could be the insomnia, it could be the people you're supporting, people who are struggling with sleep. And what you do, you just type a keyword, you can pick a location, I think.
Lenka,
I think we're in the wrong one.
yeah, we're on awareness days is what we can see.
Yeah, you've gone to, yeah.
We were on Answer the Public.
We were.
Huh. Weird. Okay, I will go back, and hopefully this time we'll go back to the right one. So, share screen, Answer the Public. Can you see that one?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So all I did is I've typed insomnia, click search, and it gave me these results. It gave me a beautiful map that tells me all the questions that people are typing into Google asking about insomnia. So they're asking lots of questions like, can insomnia be cured? Can insomnia kill you? Can insomnia cause headaches? Or will insomnia go away? Or will insomnia cause weight gain? All these questions. And these are actual questions that people put into Google in this time period, which is like literally within on a couple of days. These are all the questions that people from, we chose in the UK, actually went and put into Google. You can have it as visualized, or you can have it as data, which is a little bit more easy to read. And then you can literally think about, okay, we're talking about educational content. How about we cover one of these topics? You know, how insomnia is treated, how insomnia feels. It can be something, what insomnia looks like, or what causes insomnia, whatever. You will be able to get lots of different ideas for your specific keyword search that will then inform what you could be doing in terms of the content. So I highly recommend it, answerthepublic.com. I'll just share the URL so you have it there, and use it to get inspiration about the exact searches that people are making related to your area, to your organization. So that was one of the ideas. And the other ideas where you can use as simple as Google search. You can go and pretty much search, you know, your keywords about your organization. And if you've ever noticed, Google has this section kind of people also searched for, which again gives you the same result, tells you that if you're looking for, you know, guide dogs or anything, if you're looking for digital training, it will also give you a couple of suggestions that says people also searched for, which you know by that people actually search for relevant related questions. And what you can do is then create content that answers these questions and provide content and support to really answer these questions. Obviously, you can use your website. If you have a search on your website, then you can look at what people are searching on your particular website. And if they're not finding it, you can add new blog posts, new content. You can use additional tools like Keywords Everywhere, which will help you to search for keyword on the web. But I think starting with Answer the Public and looking for Google suggestions is the best place to get started when you feel that you're stuck on content ideas. And again, then you can list them into a table. You can list them and you can see, okay, this would be more of an educational post. We can use something and turn it into entertaining or engaging post. This would be a topic, an area, a question, a prompt, more helpful for something inspiring. This would be something more relevant for convincing kind of promotional post. And then we were pretty much done with the planning, even though we're definitely not done with the planning, but it is just about doing it. You know, when you've done enough of planning, then I always like saying that I can be spontaneous when I've planned to be spontaneous. So the whole idea of getting you to have a plan is to allow you to have a framework within which you then can be more creative. So there are certain rules of how to write and how to create content and how to publish and when to publish. But at the end of the day, it does simply come to do it, experiment, measure, monitor, adjust, and repeat. So you want to keep a couple things in mind. You want to write for your customer. You want to, again, if you're writing for a young female, the tone of voice, the messaging, the language, the jargon might be slightly different than if you're writing for older couple, for older generation. You definitely want to avoid too much of complicated sentences. You want to have the language fairly simple. especially when it comes to social media or even blog posts these days, the language is turning so much more formal. It's almost like you imagine talking to someone and you type in a fairly friendly, informal language, but obviously it needs to be aligned with your brand, how your brand personality, how your brand tone of voice is defined. But you want your language to be free of too much jargon and free of too much of a formality. You want it to be easy to read. You want to have a clearly structured piece, be it a short form Facebook post, be it long form blog post or an ebook. You want to have clear sections. You want to use short sentences, short paragraphs, keep plenty of white space. If possible, use checklists, bullet points, kind of formal different formats of text that really break the copy into easier and smaller and faster readable chunks. You also want to think about how can you make your piece unique in really putting your personality and your creativity into it. But even that, you still don't want to make it too complicated. You want to keep it simple. And definitely have play around with different content forms. So we talk a lot about like blog posts and stuff, but obviously you know that year of 2020 is the year of video. So there is lots of ways you could be using video. It could be a talking head, something that we're doing here today. It can be an animation. It could be more of an advert, very kind of constructed, edited video. It could be more informal Facebook, Instagram, whatever live video. It could be interview with 2, 3 multiple people. You might consider that actually for your audience, audio would be the best. And you might consider of creating a podcast and then using podcasts to cut into different social media bites and sound bites. You might also consider using the voice features of different social media channels to communicate with people, potentially in DMs or even in public messages, we just have a graphic and have a voice message there. Obviously, you have always the ability to use text, be it in a blog post, as a storytelling, short form kind of messages to longer form copies. You have all the options to use any kind of visual, be it your own photography, stock photography, be it graphics. All these slides and everything have been designed in Canva. So you have very simple tools on your fingertips that allow you to create graphics and slideshows, different visual elements to really grab people's attention. If creating visuals, something like this in Canva is something that you would like to learn more about, we've done a talk, we've done a webinar about Canva a while back, so I'm sure that Karen will be very nice and share the link with you in the comments. It's also the Cambridge Online YouTube channel. But just think about different ways, and again, think about what form is the best for your audience. I know that there are lots of different ways of thinking about people's accessibility. So when we're talking about video, you still want to have it captioned so people can read it. We're talking audio, you want to make sure the audio quality is good enough, but potentially you want to repurpose it into text form as a blog post as well. And that's kind of nicely leading us to the last step, which is the kind of promotion repurposing. But before we go there, there is one more point in creation, and that's that you can figure out a process that works for you. Some people prefer to dedicate 10-15 minutes every day to do their content creation, content planning, social media scheduling. And some people prefer to do it in one go and have a whole month planned. It is really much up to you to decide if you want to spend a day a week, a day a month to really dive deep and plan everything, schedule it, and then have the bulk of the work done. Or if you'd rather spend 10-15 days each day to have a week plan and then just polish it, finish it off, do it for day by day, week by week. And what you can do from the yearly plan that you had, we started planning, I wouldn't recommend you go and you start breaking it down into individual quarters. So you want to then see that, okay, in the first quarter, we have January, February, March. What will be the topics? What will be the overall theme, let's say, of these 3 months? Is there an overall theme? Is there a campaign that we are considering running? And then breaking down into months. And then obviously once you have your quarterly plan, then you can start seeing, okay, we said that we will do once a week, maybe twice a week, whatever it is. You can start marking specific days from awareness days, and the kind of overall, you will already know that maybe, the 14th of February, we have Valentine's Day, you want to do something about it. You have an event, so maybe you want to promote the event a day before, 2 days before, a week before, so you can then start breaking it down and start making sure that you are, if you have a campaign or lead up to something, that you promote it kind of regularly over time. So when it comes to specifically promoting big milestones or events, that obviously you can post more than once about them, but you want every single post to be slightly different. It has a slightly different kind of focus. So when, for example, last week I have run my annual conference and with Social Media Day, and in the lead up, we had lots of content. Obviously, we had all the speakers, information, who they are, what they will be speaking about, what platform we will be using. We did have call to actions about where you can buy tickets. We had some inspirational content about, networking and connecting with each other and learning and networking. We repeated the content about speakers a couple times, and obviously the closer to the event we went, the more and more frequently we talked about it. But we started 6-9 months ago, and then on a bi-weekly, monthly basis, we had an update. When we launched tickets, we had pretty much weekly content, and we went from weekly to daily content, and then we went to a couple posts each day about this event. So you can break it down, but it's always easier to break it down when you have the 6-9 months lead up than when you know that you have an event, a milestone, a campaign launching in 2 weeks, and you need to cram all the content into 2 weeks. Because what you want is, you want your content plan to be consistent. You want to show up consistently with the same frequency. You don't want to be posting 5 posts one day, 5 posts 1 week for a couple of weeks, and then completely drop off and have nothing, or maybe 1 post every couple of weeks coming out. You want to break it down into equal and consistent chunks. So that being said, done is better than perfect. Especially I need to remind even this to myself when it comes to video, where I tend to overthink and I tend to always be like, oh, I can edit it a little bit more, I could do it better. Done is better than perfect. So yes, you want to create quality posts, but you don't want to get to the point of overthinking and worrying and kind of polishing up to the extent of that actually you never feel ready to publish. Social media is very forgiving if you make sure that you proofread, you double check, and you're happy to go, you're kind of happy with it. Like, I'm a perfectionist, I'm never happy with anything I've done, but I have to learn to just let go and remind myself that done is better than perfect. And whatever I put out there, whatever we share, always will get better results than the thing that you don't share. And as promised, the last section is promotion and repurposing. We've now talked a lot about kind of creating content, creating videos and ebooks and blog posts, and creating kind of a plan of what will happen when. But you can also kind of map out and plan, as I mentioned with the event, how you will promote and repurpose your content. So let's say that you have a podcast and you will create 1 podcast episode a month. It doesn't mean that if you have 1 episode a month that you only get to promote it once. Definitely, there's so many more ways you can repurpose 1 piece of content on social media. So let's say you know that in January you're launching your podcast, you will have 1 guest a month. So you can now start promoting it, that the podcast will happen, that you're launching it. You can create a landing page where people can sign up. So you will email them when it's launched. You can start giving them hints and inspirations about what the topic will be, what the questions will be, who the host will be, the guests. And once you know, you have a couple episodes recorded, you have, you know, the visuals and the information from the people, you can take a snippet, you can take a sentence, a quote, and you can turn that into an individual piece. Or for example, from this training, pretty much every slide could be a blog post, or definitely each of these 7 steps could be a blog post or almost a series of blog posts in itself. But also a lot of those graphics, like this graphic, could be a standalone social media post. So I could, from this whole presentation, I can take just this image, put it on social media, write a quick copy about what I just said about it, and then I could link it to the video to be like, and to learn more, go to this video and watch it here. So the idea is that you think about ways how you can break down your big chunks of content and how you can build up your smaller pieces of content into a bigger one. But you never want to create content just for the sake of creating more content. Always look back at what you already have, because I'm pretty sure that on your website, you already have some blog posts, you already have some social media content, you already have some photos and videos that you've done and it performed well. So look at them, repurpose them, reshare them, bring them back to life. There's no shame in repeating the same, pretty much exactly the same content on social media every now and then. And the every now and then really matters depending on your frequency. So if you're posting only once a week, there will be less content on social media. So if you want to repeat something, you potentially need 3-4 months in between the repetition. If you're posting 3 times a week, then the content bank can grow up quicker and the older content gets older much faster. So you can repurpose and reuse the same content every month or so. I wouldn't probably do it more frequently than every month or so, but you can definitely look back, especially if you've done your audit and you've realized, oh, we've done this blog post and this web page and this social media post and this video, and it's really performed well. It's been 3-6 months ago. If it's still relevant, if it's still timely, if it's something that's potentially evergreen content, bring it back, refresh it, give it a little bit of a polish and reuse it. So this is kind of start thinking about how many pieces of content can you make from one blog post, one video, one podcast, whatever it is, and see how you can break it down, each blog post, each subheading, each quote. There could be lists made out of it, there could be checklists and bullet points, or if you, for example, have a series of tweets, Facebook posts that are aligned in one topic, that maybe you, over a couple of weeks and months, you told a story that was broken down into a couple of Facebook posts, you can take it all together, package it up, put it on your website, and you have a blog post. Or if you have a blog post, you can narrate it, you can turn it into a video with the same content, just in a different form. So there's so many ways you can turn one piece of content into multiple sources of social media content to really stop overdoing it and overthinking and really be as effective as you can. So you can see that you can use quotes and stats and facts from your blog posts and everything. You can turn it into lists and kind of quick tips and how-tos. You can use GIFs and graphics and turn it into videos and animations. You can then use it as a template or case study or create a cheat sheet, whatever it is. But the idea can still be the same. The idea can still be what are the health risks of insomnia? And you can have a blog post that lists it up. You can then take all the individual kind of subheadings and turn it into a list. You can pick individual stats and facts and create graphics. You can potentially find a relevant GIF and make some lighthearted, engaging post out of it. You can, for example, use a couple of graphics as a slideshow, and you can have it on Instagram or on LinkedIn where people can swipe through. You can have it as a template with some tips and tricks on how to overcome on your website where people can download it. So there's so many ways you can start thinking of one topic, one area, one piece of content, and I want you to try how far you can take it, how much juice you can squeeze out of one lemon. And on top, you can always think about kind of bonus types of content. For example, user-generated content, where you actually look and encourage your community to share their experiences, their ideas, their feedback, and you use their content, you reshare it, you make them the heroes of your posts. You showcase behind the scenes and the making of and their life, the day in a life of your organization, and really bring the brand closer, bring your audiences closer to you. That's where you can use the storytelling and take people on the journey of, you know, what you do day to day, how your day looks like, how you do what you do, helping people. Or you can look at other organizations who potentially have similar audiences, who have related product, services, topics, and you can work with them and get some guest posts. So actually they do the most of the work for you, but you can put it on your website, you can promote it. And the beautiful thing is they will also promote it on their channels, giving you more exposure. So there was lots of ideas right now thrown at you, and you can do this and you can do this. And once you get a little more into the content brainstorming, into the ideation, there will be random moments where you're like, I can make this content, I can make this. I want you to just have kind of a brain dump drawer, have a Google document, have a physical notepad, have a note on your phone. And whenever you have an idea of a content, just write it down. But you don't need to implement it straight away. You can then on weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, look at your plan, what is already there, if you have any gaps, if there's anything that is no longer relevant, or you actually don't feel that confident about it. And you can then take your notes and you can be like, and I had this idea and this idea and this idea. How about we replace this with this? Or maybe this is more timely here and we can move it there. And then it's kind of like drag and drop and play around with the ideas. But I will always say, you want to record your ideas, you don't want to lose them, but you don't want to always carry them here. You just want to put them somewhere safe. But when needed, you can go back to it, you can browse through the ideas. Like when you're stuck, you're like, oh yeah, I forget about that idea, I will do that. And this is an example of what I said just now with how you can break it down from one blog post. You can use it in your email and on your social media. On your email, you can add it to your monthly newsletter, but you can also turn it into an individual direct email. On social media, you can use it in one way on Facebook and in another way on Instagram. On Facebook, you can use it as a news update on your page and then share it into other groups. And you can create kind of your own flow chart like this if it helps to see how one piece of content, what you're doing, be it videos, podcasts, video training, you know, for Chris and Karen working for Cambridge Online and Cambridge CVS, this piece of content is your blog post. This video that will be on the YouTube channel is your blog post. Then you can use it to email people potentially who haven't made it. For other people who are new to your network, you can add it to your regular newsletter to be like, and in case you missed it, you can add, as I've mentioned throughout the session, multiple links to be like, you know, if you want the overall social media experience, you can watch this and this and this and this, and you can create a specific email that is about content. And I know that you have lots of other trainings, so you can do the same about what you do with storytelling and what you do with digital health and stuff like that. And then you can repurpose it on social media, and you exactly know how to do that. You take a screenshot, you take each individual slide, you take some of the feedback, and you put it on your channels. So that's pretty much it. This is just a summary of what we talked about today. So we looked at how you create a content marketing plan, specifically with social media in mind. You start with audit, and you do a quick SWOT analysis to identify your strengths. You do keep your audience in mind, and you're mindful of your ideal customers, their pains and needs, and their customer journey. You obviously identify your clear goals and keep KPIs to know what you're trying to achieve and what metrics you will measure to see if you're achieving it. And when it comes to content planning, you will start with a 12-month plan where you look at the 12 months ahead and you'll start putting down the big events, the national events, the kind of seasonal events, milestones, and then break it down into quarterly and weekly. So then you very clearly know what needs to happen on daily, weekly, monthly basis to achieve your goals. We looked at how do you create brainstorm content ideas depending on different themes. So we have different buckets. So you're not just promoting and spamming people with sales messages or just talking about yourself, but you're educational, you're entertaining, you're engaging, you're inspiring, but you don't forget to share convincing call to actions. How do you create? What content type? Form? Is it a blog post? Is it video? Is it animation? And do you do it in small chunks or in big chunks as a batch? And obviously how you can take your content further with promoting and repurposing. And I know that the information of this event mentioned that we will look at some of the tools. There is pretty much only one tool I can wholeheartedly recommend to you, and it's ContentCal. But that being said, you can use whichever channel, whichever social media scheduling, content planning tool you want. You can use Buffer, you can use Hootsuite. Facebook has a great Facebook Creator Studio that allows you to plan and schedule for Facebook and Instagram. Twitter actually has a Twitter Media Studio, which allows you to schedule and plan content on Twitter for free, or alternatively, you can use TweetDeck. Canva can launch their own content planning scheduling. So if you're creating visuals in Canva, you can schedule directly from there. But I like having everything in one place, and I like having it strategic, and I like having it pretty and clear, and that's why I love ContentCal. And I will quickly show you how ContentCal looks like. So I will share my content screen.
Oh no, she's back. Excellent.
Sorry, we lost you for a bit later.
How long have you lost me for?
You were talking about Twitter media. That's what I heard last.
Okay, yeah, so not much. That's good. So yeah, I was talking about it. Each and every one of the platforms can actually be pretty much scheduled natively. I think every other than LinkedIn. But I would still recommend you to use one of the social media kind of scheduling platforms out there. Because I like having things at one place. I like things to be organized and look pretty and work pretty. And that's why I love ContentCal. Can you see my ContentCal tab? Can anyone give me a shout out?
Yes, we can.
Cool. So obviously refreshed because I had it ready exactly at the page you wanted to have it ready. But we will refresh that. Why I love ContentCal, it's because it's a place where I can do it all in one place. It has some very interesting functionalities and features that you can use. So as you can see, when you land there, it kind of gives you this kind of squarey overview. And I like the fact that I can flip between list view, where I can see kind of all the posts that have been published and shared, if there are any, because they're not in this particular calendar. I can have a weekly view where I can see if I want to see a week from Monday, or if I want to start from today. And I can also flip to a month view, so where I can see a full month. And I had this 1 month prepared somewhere where there's actually a lot of content there. This is what I wanted to show you. So you can see that in the monthly overview, you can see that something goes on Facebook, something goes on Instagram, and there are multiple posts. And if I would flip to week view, you can then see that this is Instagram, and this is Facebook, and this is Twitter, and this is LinkedIn, they're different platforms. And I can also see the previews of how the images will work. If there are any copy, I can have tags, so I can have it tagged based on a theme. So I know if I'm having a little bit too much of one type of content and a little bit too much of another content. And I have two planning features on top. I have campaign. So if I know that for a week, month, quarter, I will have campaign, I can set up the campaign and it will always show me the campaign running on top. And if there are any specific days, awareness days, milestones, events, I can always add them here. I can always create a reminder. So here we want to talk about this particular event. And then the creation is simple as you click to the platform you want to work, you create a content, you put a copy, you put the visuals, videos, anything. You pick whichever of the category tags that you've created you want to use. If you want to put it to multiple platforms, you pick whichever platforms, you put the date, the time. You can then, once it's ready, click on a preview, so it will show you how it looks like. And you have it all here. You do have built-in analytics, which will show you the results of those campaigns. You can then see all the campaigns that you have running on the one tab. If there's multiple people working on your team, you can add different members and have approvals and different rights. You can also have a content hub where you start collecting all this information in one place. So from my experience, I really like working with ContentCal because then it's very simple as drag and drop. I can just grab a new content wherever it is. So we'll pick one of the most updated calendars where I can actually show you how you create stuff. So if we look at this week, there is a content. If I, for whatever reason, decided that I don't want this content to be coming out on Thursday anymore, I want it on Saturday, I can just simply move it here and there. If I want to edit it, I can always go back and edit it. If I want to add it to different channels, I can add it to different channels. If I want to see how it will look like on this particular platform, I can. So this is great because often the platforms will give you kind of the top line or two will be visible, and then it will have to read more, and you will here see how it looks like, how the paragraphs and the links and the images work, and it's all in one place. They have a free version, so I think that for anyone, the free version is just enough, especially if you do follow the advice to be active only on 1 or 2 platforms, because it gives you 3 or 4 channels that you could be using. It gives you 1 account to play with, but their pricing is actually fairly affordable. And if you ever are considering using ContentCal, I know the guys from ContentCal, they're good friends. They're running great trainings for us, for my community. So I would be more than happy to kind of help you set up on board, and they have a fantastic team. And we do have a 20% discount code. So if you're considering using ContentCal, I am not promoting them because I have an affiliate deal or anything like that. I do generally, you can see, like, I do use it on a daily basis. All my clients, all my communities, everything is here because I am using it for years, and I can't imagine myself using anything else. But that being said, there are benefits and personal preferences, and you could be using Buffer, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Later, Calendly, this and this. There's so many of them.
Lenka, Lenka, someone has asked if you recommend the Canva scheduling calendar.
So obviously Canva is great if you design every single visual in Canva. Other than that, I find it's great to schedule it, but I don't like having things scheduled in 2 places. And if I'm using something else than Canva design visual, I'm using photo, I'm using video, I'm using link, then I don't have it in Canva. So I still have to import it to Canva. So I like the fact that they allow you to do that, and the scheduler looks pretty decent, but I still prefer a third-party specific tool that really allows me to do all in one. But up to preferences, you know.
Thank you.
Every single There are lots of free tools that you could be using. They have its limitations. So then it really much depends on your strategy, on your content, on your focus, to make sure that you are using what is best for you, for your business, for your strategy, whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me just double check that I haven't missed any slides, that what actually was all I wanted to share with you guys. So we had a look at ContentCal. I do really recommend you to have a look and have a play around, because it really feeds so much of the support for content planning, and not only just the scheduling and publishing, but they can help you so much with the putting the notes and brainstorming ideas and events and master things. And that's it. It's a huge thank you. And there is a little bit of a call to action for you. If you want to learn more about social media, I would recommend you to join my Facebook group, my online community, Cambridge Social Media, where we have lots of other resources. And over the past year, we've run free social media trainings every week, and it's all in the group, where you can have a look and rewatch some of the content from all these amazing experts. We covered Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, content planning, content repurposing, community building, crisis communication, personal branding. We have workshops about Canva, video, podcasting, all of that. So if you want more about social media, do check out Cambridge Social Media. If you need some hands-on advice, just drop me an email. If you want to have a chat, if you want me to have a look at your plan, if there's anything that you would like my help with, just drop me an email, find me on my website, or find me anywhere on social media. Pretty much just search for my name, you will find me. And yeah, more than happy to have a chat and help you.